On today's episode, the Mavs on a winning streak. What is going on that winning streak and how are they doing it? We'll talk about it here. Plus, Max Christie goes nuts in the Garden yesterday. One of the best performances of the season by an individual for the Mavericks. And we have the latest on the general manager search front. An interesting name potentially popping up. We will discuss here on today's show. Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Jeffrey Cooperstein here. And if you want more Mavs updates, hit that thumbs up icon for me. Our goal on today's show is to get 200 Mavericks fans to go ahead and like the video. Free and easy way to help out the channel. The more likes we get, the easier we can push this video out to more Mavericks fans and make this the biggest, largest, best Mavericks community here on YouTube. Great win for the Mavericks yesterday on MLK Day against the New York Knicks, winning 114-97, and it really was never that close as the Mavs got up to a 30-point lead. At one point, I believe they were up like 75-45, and I just looked over, and Max Christie went absolutely nuclear. I mean, it's a very good win for the Mavericks, which was, of course, their third straight win after winning the baseball series against the Utah Jazz 2-0. They go over there in New York on a little bit of a short rest because it was a 4 p.m. Central tip-off time, and they went out there and they kicked the Knicks' ass. And yeah, it was a great win by the Mavs, but boy, oh boy, are the New York Knicks bad. Like, Mike Brown could be a one-and-done coach over there. That team just isn't playing very hard, and outside of Jalen Brunson, shout out to JB, that's our guy, like, what are they going to do? Like, how are they going to get out of that rut? I really don't know. But nevertheless, it was a good win for the Mavs. But yeah, I mean, the Knicks have lost like 10 of their last 12 or something like that. So you took advantage of a team who's kind of stumbling. And the Mavericks have kind of gotten themselves back into the conversation of the play-in tournament, potentially. Like, they've won 4 of their last 5. And the other one was a close loss against Denver. Like, they actually did play pretty well in that game. They made it, I believe, a 5-point game in the fourth quarter in that one. So they've been playing all these teams pretty close, and they obviously blew Utah out twice and blew the Knicks out there for that 3-game winning streak. So look, they've been playing pretty good basketball lately, and especially in the last 5 games, the Mavs have really stepped things up. And when you look at how the team ratings look in the last 5 games or so, a 122.9 offensive rating would rank number 1 in the NBA if you extrapolated that over the course of the season. And the 111.8 defensive rating would rank 4th in the NBA if you extrapolated that over the course of the season. Now, the Mavs obviously aren't going to have an offensive rating of 123 for the rest of the season. That's just simply unrealistic to expect. But they are finding ways to score the basketball more efficiently. 114 against New York and then 140 in back-to-back games against the Utah Jazz. So they're finding ways to be more efficient offensively, to score more points, to get more open shots, which is certainly a positive trend because this team still sits, I believe, 27th in the NBA in offensive rating for the season. And a big reason why they're doing what they're doing right now is Max Christie, who went absolutely nuts last night in the Garden against the New York Knicks with 26 points, 9 of 13 from the field, and 8 for 10 from three-point range. Max Christie had never made more than 5 3-pointers in a game in his NBA career, and I believe he made 6 in the first half. So Max has been a really good player for this team this season, and especially in the last 2 games. I believe he had 22 in the second game against Utah as well. And I will be honest, like, over the last year, I've really enjoyed watching Max Christie play basketball, and I do think that he's a building block for this team that they can use into the future as part of the future of this squad. Like, when you think about the Mavericks going into a full rebuild, you think about Cooper Flagg and who else? I think Max Christie is a part of that group, if we're being honest. And Max should absolutely be in the 3-point contest at All-Star Weekend in LA coming up in a couple of weeks. He's shooting the absolute piss out of the ball right now. And how about this? I looked this up today, and here's an interesting stat for you guys. Christie has the highest 3-point percentage in the league at 45.9% among players with over 200 3-point attempts. So and I believe he is like 6th in the league in 3-point percentage among all qualifiers, period. So Max is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league this year, full stop. Now, the Mavericks, unfortunately, take less threes than just about anybody in the NBA, so they've got to find a balance there. You have to find a way to get more open three-point shots. You got to find a way to get Max Christie some more attempts because he's knocking him down at an extremely high clip this year to the point where he should be playing or starring and featuring in that three-point contest. If you want to see Max Christie in All-Star Weekend in the three-point contest, like the video for me as well. I mentioned our goal is to get to 200 likes here on today's show, and Max will absolutely help us do that. So like the video right now if you want to see Max at All-Star Weekend. We know we'll see Cooper Flag there, but let's get 00 there as well. When you look at the standings here in the Western Conference, the Mavericks are firmly in the play-in race right now. They are just 2 games back of a play-in spot of the LA Clippers. Now, I will concede the Clippers have been playing much better ball lately, so I do think that they're, going to be a difficult team to try to overcome. But the Memphis Grizzlies absolutely think they're going to go down the tank, especially with everything going on with Ja Morant. Rich Paul publicly trying to get the Lakers to trade for Jaren Jackson. What a joke that is. But Memphis they are not in sync right now, and I don't think that's a team that the Mavericks are going to have too much trouble overcoming. The Clippers are a different story. They are playing some decent basketball. James Harden still playing at an incredible level for his age. Kawhi Leonard still playing very well as well. So are the Mavericks completely out of the play-in race? I do not believe they are. Is it the best thing that they're trying to still win these games and get into the play-in race, or would you rather the Mavericks tank and try to get that top draft pick? Now, that's another conversation for another day, but I'll tell you this. It doesn't matter what we think because the Mavericks will not tank. I've mentioned that multiple times. It's just not in the franchise's nature to do that, to sit veterans, to intentionally lose games. The Mavs are going to try to win every game they can for the rest of the season until they are 100% firmly out of it. So we'll see what happens, and we'll talk about the upcoming schedule here in just a moment, but the Mavericks really do have a difficult schedule coming up, which may set them back in the race that they've kind of climbed themselves into here over the last 5-6 games. And we'll get to that schedule here in just a moment, but today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks, and the big game is almost here in just a couple of weeks. Look, we had a big game in college football last night, but the big game in professional football is almost here, and there is no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5. One of the best new features on PrizePicks is the social feeds feature, where you can share your PrizePicks with friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. They also offer early payouts, so if your lineup gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. And this is my projection for championship weekend in pro football. Give me the more on Drake May passing yards. I think he's going to carve up that Denver defense. I'll take the more on Matt Stafford interceptions and the less on Rashid, the need for speed Shaheed receiving yards. Copy my picks or go make picks of your own. Just download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, that's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link will be in the comments and description of today's show. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. So the Mavs, as I've mentioned, got themselves playing better basketball lately. I won't say it's great basketball by any means because I don't think they're playing fantastic defensively, but it does feel like they've ratcheted up a little bit on the offensive end, which is absolutely a positive sight to see. And they're going to have to continue that because in their next 5 games, they have a very difficult schedule here against teams who are all, very solid teams and teams that they are competing with. The Warriors, the Lakers, the Bucks, the T-Wolves, and the Hornets. Now, the Hornets aren't a very good team, but they're an exciting young team, a high-powered offensive team. Obviously, you have the Warriors here who are kind of struggling a little bit, hovering around 500, but a team that the Mavericks should be able to compete with. You have Luka and the boys coming to the American Airlines Center on Saturday. Now, we're supposed to get some crazy winter weather this weekend, so hopefully that game still continues. I'll be at the AAC on Saturday if you're there, so come say what's up if you're out there as well. And then you have the Bucks. I mean, we all know the Bucks aren't playing well, and the Giannis trade rumors have persisted throughout this season. And I don't know if Giannis gets traded because he won't formally ask for a trade. But nevertheless, I mean, these are 5 games that the Mavericks that are going to be crucial for the Mavericks' future the rest of the season. Can you go 3-2? Can you get a win against the Warriors, the Bucks, and the Hornets? Could you sneak in a win against the Lakers at home or the Timberwolves at home? If the Mavs do want to be serious about trying to make the plan and having their season not end after 82 games, you got to go at minimum 3-2 over the next 5 games. All right, we're going to round out today's show with an intriguing and / exciting story surrounding the Mavericks and the general manager search, which will commence fully in the offseason. Dirk Nowitzki was asked by SI Germany whether or not he would take the Mavericks' vacant GM job at the moment, which is currently occupied by interim GMs Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi. And it doesn't sound like Dirk is too terribly interested in taking on that full-time job. And we'll give you what he had to say here, where he said, "I don't think the GM role is something that I'm considering right now. I always thought that when I retired, I'd immediately move into management. But the longer I was out of the business after my career ended, the less interesting it became. I think it's an incredibly intense job, 24/7 all year round." And Dirk is absolutely right about that. And when the season is over for players and coaches, they take a break. But the GM work is just getting started with draft, free agency, trade deadlines, etc. It's an absolute full-time job that I can't imagine doing it right now. I like the way my life is. And Dirk definitely is having a great life right now over on Amazon Prime. And he's just enjoying his life, buddy with Steve Nash and the other boys over there on Prime. And he's doing a great job as well over there. I really enjoyed Dirk's insight and hearing his opinions on the game. So I think that it would be awesome to have Dirk as general manager and have Dirk back involved with the Mavericks. But at the end of the day, I don't think it would be the best idea in the world to hire Dirk as GM. I just don't want any part of his legacy to even have a chance of being ruined. And we've seen like some of the best players of all time become owners and general managers, and their legacy is, tainted a little bit. Like Michael Jordan, obviously one of the best players, if not the best player of all time, known as one of the worst owners in the history of the NBA. So I don't want that sort of thing to happen to Dirk, where I just want his legacy as a player. Just have that on the pedestal. Don't worry about making front office decisions and whatnot. Not that he could do worse than the last guy, because that would quite literally be impossible. But I don't want him to just have the stress and the pressure of being the Mavericks general manager. I don't think that's fair to Dirk. I don't think that's fair to the Mavericks either. I am glad, though, that Patrick Dumont has reached out to Dirk to try to repair the relationship between the Mavs and Nowitzki, which Nico Harrison ruined because he fired everybody from the last regime because he didn't like the way that they operated. Casey Smith traded Luka Doncic away. Bunch of other guys that Dirk was very close with, Nico got rid of because he went on a power trip, because that's the kind of guy he was, which is absolutely ridiculous, and he alienated the most important figure in Dallas Mavericks history. But now Dumont has reached out to Dirk, is trying to somewhat repair the relationship between the two, and that is an absolute positive. And hopefully, maybe at the end of this year, in the offseason, the start of next season, Dirk will be a part of this franchise in some form or fashion. Not asking him to be here on a day-to-day basis. Do I want to see Dirk, though, sitting next to Mark Cuban at home games? Absolutely. Do I want to see Dirk cheering on the Mavs? 100%. It's just not right that he hasn't been a part of the organization for the last year or so, and hopefully that will get corrected, that will get fixed, and he'll be back there at the AAC before we know it. All right, to round out today's show, would you want Dirk as the next general manager? I've kind of laid out my thoughts as to why I don't think I would want him as the next GM, but would you guys want him? Type Y for yes or type N for no down there in the comment section. All right, guys, that will do it for today's show. Appreciate you for tuning into the show as always. We will have a live watch party on Thursday as well against the Golden State Warriors. Should be a fun one. So come join us for that. Stay tuned, and we'll keep you guys up to date on all of the latest Mavericks news and rumors.